Hello viewer, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 on this channel. How are you? Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the parts guy, or girl, it just depends. As a technician, mechanic, what have you, do-it-yourselfer, it's very difficult to do what you do without getting parts. And these days, you've got a lot of choices. I mean, you could go online and get parts. You can go down to a local auto parts store. Well, I guess you really only have a couple of choices. Dealer is another one, so you got like 3 major choices as far as where you can get your parts from. Personally, I try to develop a really good relationship with my parts personnel. And the main reason for this is because I can't really do what I do without them. And they're the ones that are like backing me up, that have my back when it comes to doing my repairs. Oftentimes repair comes with parts replacement, and you need parts, you need quality parts, and you need them now, yesterday. And your parts guy, you get a good one, hang on to him, okay? Because there are some really good parts people out there, and they know basically the ins and outs, and they've seen some of the mistakes in the catalogs, things like that. They know some of the pitfalls to avoid. The newer guys might not be so familiar with these things or might not have that level of experience, and that may cost you in the long run. But I just want to throw out a couple of things there, because I've worked with parts people at the dealership on a daily basis. I've worked with parts people at a local auto parts store, in a couple of different places, and I've bought things online. So I've done pretty much what you've done for the most part. And you know, we develop, you know, our favorites, and that's the thing. If you find a good one, get his name or her name and burn it into your brain, put it into your cell phone, whatever, because they are going to be your go-to person. And I would suggest you adopt that philosophy. It's like those times when you keep talking to everybody in the parts store, you may not get the kind of service that you're hoping to get. So if you find somebody good, stick with them. Now, even the good ones have off days. Just like us technicians, we have our off days. I'd just like you to give your parts personnel a little bit of slack, and this is why. A lot of times, if they give you the wrong part or get you the wrong part, it's not their fault. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they transposed a number or something like that, and it's just a mistake on their part. Good parts people will normally own up to this, but there are times when they look it up and they see a part number listed, they pull the part number, order the part number, whatever, you get it, you find out it's wrong. There's a lot of mistakes in the parts catalogs that are out there. And like I said earlier, the good ones will know that, oh, on this particular model year, it was like a split year, and we need to know your VIN in order to get you what you need, that kind of thing. So don't be too hard on them, because it may not be their fault. It may have been a bad listing in the book, they didn't know about it, or they didn't know that, you know, that there was a certain change in the design of that particular model year. And you really need to know the VIN number. This is another thing that you can go a long way to help your parts personnel out with, is have your VIN number handy. And also, you got to give them the basic information. Don't call up and just say, I need an ABS sensor for my car. They don't know what kind of car you have. They don't know anything. So start with start with year, make, and model. Do it that way. And engine size, if you know the engine size, find the engine size, look on those underhood stickers and all that. I mean, give your parts person the most information you possibly can. Don't call up and waste their time, because this is what's going to happen. I mean, as a parts person, they are there like working. You are not their only customer, trust me. They got people calling them all day long. Some days they don't have a minute to spare, trust me. So don't waste their time, especially if they sound like they're in a hurry. Have the information ready, okay? Don't sit there and say, hang on, and then put the phone down and go out, find out that information. Write down as much information as you can. Like I said, the year, the make, the model, how many doors it has, what engine it has, and best of all, have the VIN number handy, especially if you're working on some domestic vehicles. It really does go a long way, because there are, like I say, VIN splits like right there in the middle of the model year. And that was the manufacturer that did that. So as a parts person, you've got like a catalog full of millions of different parts that you have to sift through and try to get you, the customer, the right one. Also, terminology is important. Honda was weird about this kind of stuff. It's like, for a coolant temperature sensor on a Honda, they call it a TW sensor, temperature water. So a new parts person at Honda might be looking up for a coolant temperature sensor and not be able to find it. Are you following me here? Or the pictures of the listings and the catalogs aren't necessarily clear. So in those cases, what you can have them do is send you a fax, a picture of what they're looking at. Ask if they can do that, because a lot of times they will. They'll give you a printout, you can look, and you can look for yourself at what they're looking at, and you might be able to find out whatever that goofy part is that you need. So do the best you can to try to give them the best information possible in the least amount of time possible. This will go a long way. If you get in with your parts guy, trust me, your life will be a lot easier. And you know, depending on who they are, they're going to treat you right. And that's what you're ultimately looking to do. You're looking to develop a relationship with these. Your parts person's like your girlfriend, really. And you don't always get along, but you really should. And when you do get along, things are great. So approach it with that mindset. Because if not, if you approach it in an adversarial way, or you expect them to solve your problems, here's the other thing. Parts people are not mechanics. Okay? And as much as there's parts people out there that do their own mechanical work and that kind of thing, they're not mechanics. Okay? If they were mechanics, they'd be out working in the shop most likely. Okay? I'm making generalizations. I realize some of you out there are going to tell me there's exceptions, blah, blah, blah. I know there's exceptions. But for the most part, parts guys are parts guys. Don't rely on them for your diagnosis, okay? Actually go through the trouble to do your diagnosis. Follow, some videos on YouTube. Whatever you need to do to make sure you've got a solid diagnosis. And then go to them with the parts that you believe you need. And don't get mad at them if the parts that you order don't fix the problem, because that's not their problem. It was up to you to figure out what parts are bad. They're just getting you the parts that you're asking for. So don't put it on a parts person to tell you what's wrong with your car. You can call them up and sometimes you can ask. Like if you're in a place where you got to make an educated guess, you're like, hey man, do you sell a lot of these? And if they have it in stock, there's a good bet they do sell a lot of them. And if they do sell a lot of them, it might be a common problem, it might be a pattern failure, you might be onto something. All might, okay? And if you're doing this professionally, might not cut it. But, and especially with electrical parts, they can't return electrical parts. Like the people that they get the parts from tell them, no, the box is open, whatever, we cannot give you credit for that. So they got to eat that. So you can't put them in that position. So don't get mad if there's parts that you order that don't work out and then you take them back. Like just swapping out parts is not really a part of your diagnosis, okay? And if you're doing that, you're putting that parts person in a very bad position, and basically you're not doing it right. That's not diagnosis. I will admit I have done things like that before. There are situations like say with control units or something like that, but where I was when I did this, I was at the dealership, so I could just, try it out. That said, don't put the parts person in that position to where, order me this control unit so that I can try it. No, order the control unit because you've eliminated all of the possibilities and the only thing left that it could be is that control unit, okay? I've probably missed a few things as far as this is concerned, but I think I touched on the major things. But just be good to your parts person. And parts people, be good to mechanics. I know that some mechanics out there might be prima donnas, let's face it. They get kind of an attitude and they take out a bad day on a parts guy. I'm trying to tell them not to do that, but I'm also trying to tell you, Mr. Parts Guy, that you're not a mechanic. And you don't know what it's like on the other side of the counter. So we've got to come to a détente, an agreement, to where everybody's happy, because we both need each other. Because you sell parts to us, we buy the parts, and we come to you for those parts. So it works for everybody. Like you're getting paid, and we hopefully are fixing things and getting them down the road. But if you're new to the parts buying world or something like that, year, make, model, engine size, how many doors does it have, and best of all, have a VIN number. Have that information handy. Don't use like them as a means of diagnosis. Don't go to them and say, I want to try this part on the car, and if it works, great, I'll buy it. If not, I'm going to give it back to you to where you can't sell it. That puts everybody in a bad position, so don't even go there. I think that about covers it. I may have missed something, and I'm sure you'll mention it in the comments, and maybe I'll do a response video to this if I feel it's necessary. Anyway, I am Eric the Car Guy, also known as ETCG1 on this channel. Post videos here about every Wednesday. And you can find me on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. Also at ericthecarguy.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have automotive questions, I ask that you either use the search function by typing in a couple of keywords and seeing what answer, answer thousands of questions. Something may come up. If you don't find anything there, sign up for the site. Go over to the forum, ask the question. Me and bunches of smart people are there trying to help you. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. I will catch you next time. Be nice to your parts person. And parts people, be nice to those mechanics. Everybody, let's get along. Catch you later.